You know, I really do feel like this movie needs a big ol' apology. It still won't get it. But I think this film here can't even talk straight. I think this needs an apology because despite what people think about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's not a perfect film. There are some extremely silly scenes in it. The whole monkey scene, for example, swinging with Shia LaBeouf. But this had the heart, energy, fun that was reminiscent of his earlier brethren. Indiana Jones still felt like the major central character. He didn't feel like a senile, feeble, sad, pathetic old man. Shia LaBeouf was actually likable as Mutt. You didn't have what could have might as well been the fucking Antichrist as a co-star. And I now know the Antichrist's name, and it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Or I should say Helena. Which, maybe it's not the actress's fault, to be fair. Maybe it's just the way her character's written and the way she's directed. The character of Helena, as one guy would say, could go to hell, 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 and is one of the worst characters I have seen in a long time. Easily the worst character I have seen in this franchise. See, she's already put a spell on me to attack my throat so I can't speak anymore, because I will always defend Kingdom of Crystal Skull. Again, it is not a perfect film. The first three are a great trilogy, but the plot, even the MacGuffin, the UFO stuff, I find that much more fascinating than what the hell they did here, which people disregard that it is a part of history, just people scoff at it, but I mean, this felt like more of an Indiana Jones film for me than what the fuck I saw. So yeah, I do think this film needs an apology, but it probably still won't get it. This movie, even if you think that movie's bad, which I don't, I always liked it when I saw it in the theater. I liked it at home. I still like it today. Uh, this is 10 times worse than anything in that movie. Even the fridge scene. And before I go on, the only reason I saw this is because it was a paid request. And if you want to send a request for a tier list or a review, a re-review, a topic, reaction, commentary, please feel free to send it. Usually PayPal is the best bet. That link is down below. There's also a Patreon as well. Both those links are down below under most of these videos. So thank you for that. The dial of destiny, the dial of dialysis, the dial 1-800 I don't give a fuck, the dial to the nursing home, retirement home. It's bombing. No shit. I wonder why. I'm not surprised, because no one was asking for this film. No one wanted there was no desire for a fifth Indiana Jones film. I think this film ended it very well. His son was not that grating or annoying. He gets married to his love, Marion. You think he's going to be passing the torch, but Indiana Jones says, "Psych, what are you doing? That's my hat." That was a perfect way. You think it's going one way, it goes a different, much more satisfying. He's got his wife now. Come with me, son. Got his hat. John Williams music. But no, we can't leave well enough alone because of people like Kathleen Kennedy. Harrison Ford got put the blame on him too. And this film was really fucking boring. I never thought I would say that an Indiana Jones film was really fucking boring. Now, if you're wondering why this is not a volcano rage of bubble guts, acid spewing, eruptive tornado of hot-headedness, spoilers starting now. If they had killed Indiana Jones, it would. And I guarantee that the ending of this film was changed. You could blindly see, Ray Charles could see that this was not the original ending this film had. And I'm tired of this loser deconstructing of characters. The action scenes were incredibly boring. James Mangold didn't bring a goddamn thing to this fucking film. I mean, he was the wrong choice anyway, because I think of the films of his I liked, what, Copland, Lodian, that has nothing to do in the feel of Indiana Jones. Not at all. Probably the closest film he did to that was Night and Day, which I liked, but the majority of people out there probably don't even know what the fuck movie I just said. And that film is not... Even Tom Cruise fans, they didn't even think of Night and Day. I remember liking it, but it's not a classic or anything. People complain about the CGI in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. There's 10 times more CGI in this. Indiana Jones fucking himself is CGI. With the de-aging. Which sometimes if it stood still was okay, but a lot of times it was like off garbage that I've seen done better on fucking YouTube. And this de-aging thing needs to stop, man. You don't have the technology, you don't have it down pat. Because it just looks awkward. Mark Hamill and was The Mandalorian Season 2. The ghost of Harold Ramis in Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know, there's de-aging, I guess it wasn't de-aging, but whatever the fuck that was, still, Christopher Reeve and The Flash. Going back to Jeff Bridges and Tron Legacy. It doesn't work as well as you think it does. And this whole opening was fucking boring. And it doesn't help that, okay, the opening is showing a young, as in Harrison, probably from like probably like Raiders of the Lost Ark type of era, Last Crusade era. Deal with the Nazis, ultimately get on this train to get what he thinks is the Spear of Destiny, the blade that pierced Christ. And at one point he gets hung, and a missile drops, this big CG explosion happens, and he's swinging along on his net, even though his net should be broken. And what a big thing that this makes it not work is anytime Harrison Ford talks, it's an 80-year-old man in this supposedly 30, 40-year-old face. 30-year-old face. It doesn't work. Because you can try to make him look as young as possible, but he's talking like he's got some nails in his throat, and I don't know, he's talking like a few more octaves. He's going to be Nick Nolte. I could hear the old in his voice. I could hear the nursing home in his voice. It doesn't work. It doesn't work at all. It takes you out of the movie. And everything is CGI. I remember Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yes, there's actually a lot of practical. There was CG, but there's... When Indiana Jones... When he swings that bit, and he comes back and he crashes through the windshield, that was closer. That bit was done practical. When, obviously a stuntman, but when he swings and he hits the guy goes through the window, the glass, and he's fighting the guy in the chain... A lot of that's done practical. Here, it felt like every fucking thing was CGI. Whether it be him hanging around, swinging around with the CGI background, because it's supposed to be everything is blown up, the floors have been blown up. Whether it be getting on a motorcycle, and he's going down the hill, and the whole background looks like a CGI mist. Whether getting on the train, and you think about the train sequence in Last Crusade compared to this, I would say it's night and day, but technically that's true. One takes place in the day, this place at night. And everything, the background, Indiana Jones fucked himself is CGI because of the goddamn de-aging. When you guys CGI Indiana Jones himself, you know there's a fucking problem. His buddy, I think the actor was a Toby Jones. I forget the actor's name. I've seen him in quite a few stuff. I'm bad with names. He was found by the Nazis. He gets there. Indiana Jones doesn't know his friend's on the train yet, because when he sees him, he's like, "What are you doing here?" I think he's trying to get the... Maybe I'm trying to think if it is called the Spear of Destiny. Maybe I'm getting that confused because that's... Wasn't that a comic book? It's supposed to be the blade that pierced Christ. See, but then you realize, nope, that's actually a fake. It's not the real thing. But they find a real dial, Archimedes, the real dial of destiny. At least half of it. So at one point he's wearing the uniform, Nazi uniform, and is boring sloth through the train where he's pretending to be a Nazi and he's moving around. Then he moves back and he has this package or this thing he's carrying. Then he locks the door. I'm like, how the fuck is this exciting? The motorcycle bit wasn't exciting. It was too much like cartoon video game CGI. James Mangold, I think, was the wrong choice for this. He did not bring any amount of excitement or thrills to the action sequences. Him and his buddy get on the top of the train. He's fighting this big guy. There's a point where the guy... People want to talk about, oh, the fridge scene, the fridge scene. This has... What about shit in here where Indiana Jones literally gets pushed to the top of the goddamn tunnel? Like, his bat is going through the top of the tunnel. His bat should be... I don't know, look like he got shredded up by the mangler. Someone just took like a chainsaw and cut his back out. His bat being dragged by the fucking tunnel. But the more laughable thing is Mads Mikkelsen, if that's how you pronounce his name correctly. He has a gun on them. He turns and... This is a speeding train. It's one of those like metal signs. He turns and boop, hits him right in the face. Like, right in the face. Doesn't knock his head off. In fact, he comes back in the present time, 1969. I don't even remember him having a goddamn scar. Maybe, did he have a scar? If he did... It was so mundane I didn't notice. Yeah, because when you're on a speeding train and you get hit in the head with a metal pole, metal sign, you're perfectly fucking fine. Or maybe he had one. I can't even remember if he had a scar. That's how little mundane it was. It was fucking stupid. And then part of it is there are planes going about and they shoot this big gun cannon on the train, and remarkably it turns and it shoots all the Nazis on the train. How lucky is that? You couldn't have Indiana Jones, I don't know, how about take the whip and pull it so the gun goes that way? Wouldn't that be kind of cooler to make Indiana Jones more worthwhile in the scene? Use the whip and pull it. Come on, help me. And they're pulling the gun so that... Wouldn't that be a bit cooler? Wouldn't that be a bit neat? Let me ask you, why didn't they do that? Oh, the gun's still firing. Come on, trust me. Help me pull this. And they pull the cannon to all the Nazis. Oh, that would be too mean. Raiders of the Lost Ark, he shot a guy with a sword because he's like, fuck it, I got a gun. One of the best scenes in the movie. Your swordman. Tired of this shit. Just walks away. I wouldn't be surprised if Disney, they frown on scenes like that, so don't have that. No. So instead, the gun just moves by itself for some reason. I still don't understand why the cannon is moving by itself, but it is. I guess some kind of momentum on the thing. I don't know if that's how it works, but whatever. And it luckily shoots all the Nazis. So they jump off the train. Just terrible, garbage CGI. It looks worse than the CGI in this movie. And it felt like there were 10 times more of it. So we get to 1969 after that terrible dog shit opening. And you're like, oh god, this is bad, man. A terrible looking de-aged young Indiana Jones with an 80-year-old voice coming out of it. Up the ass with CGI. Mads Mikkelsen gets hit in the head like a Looney Tunes cartoon, but is perfectly fine. And in 1969, around the time Land on the Moon, because that's the big news, Indiana Jones wakes up and he's in his underwear. He can barely put his fucking shirt on. He's divorced. You find out that Shia LaBeouf's character was killed in Vietnam, which I thought was... Talking about a big middle finger to this film. That's what it felt like. It felt like, oh, no one likes Tina Crystal Skull, so fuck that movie. Fuck you. Fuck your movie. How about them apples? Shia LaBeouf would have been a lot better here than Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. And again, maybe it's not the actress's fault. When I mentioned that, I mentioned the character Helena, which no wonder hell is in her fucking name, because like I said, she's the fucking Antichrist in this movie. But oh, Indy, he's a loser. Because I'm tired of this deconstruction shit. It's not deconstruction, it's demolition. Either you kill him off, or you make him an old pathetic loser. Or you do both. You're either loser, or you're dead, or you're loser and you're dead. Fucking Batman, Michael Keaton, last time you see him, he dies. And the first time you see him, he's this fucking lonely, old-looking hermit with crazy fucking hair, looking like Billy Connolly or something. Goddamn hair everywhere. And then the last scene you see him in, the last scene you probably ever see Michael Keaton as Batman, is him fucking dying. And he says, thanks. Thank you for killing. Thank you, I'm dead. Maybe he's like, thank you for getting me out of this shitty movie. And it's his last day at work, because remember guys, he's old. He's old. You get it? He's old. He can barely put on the shirt. Cut out that loud ruckus. He's old. Do you get it? He's fucking old. Surprised they didn't have a fucking scene where he had to put a fucking tube up his dick to pee. I don't know why people thought, hey, you know what I want to see? I want to see an old, feeble, senile seaman Indiana Jones. Barely stumbling over his 2 left feet. Why do you want to see that? Let me ask you. Why do you want to see your heroes either old and pathetic or a funeral procession? It is one or the other or both. Why do people want to keep seeing that with these fucking old heroes? You know, sometimes remind me of... You know, I can't believe I'm saying this. Even Rambo 5 Last Blood was better than this fucking movie. And as a big Rambo fan, you know I have a lot of issues with Rambo 5. That's why I didn't like it. But as much as I complain about Rambo 5, he didn't seem like a feeble, senile old man. At least Sylvester Stallone didn't do that to John Rambo. And also didn't kill him. He was just wounded and walked, rode away. I still don't like the film. I still don't think you need a Rambo 5. Just like you didn't need an Indiana Jones 5. But this was just sad to watch. It was depressing to watch. And it didn't have any depth to it as well. You know, Harrison Ford is like, well, I didn't think Kingdom of the Crystal... He said this. I don't think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was the right way to end the franchise. You know, this and talk about being old. But you didn't say anything. You were just old and feeble, but nothing was said about being old. For people to say otherwise, what did this say about being old? Other than you're a feeble loser, you need someone to help your ass. What did it say about the human condition? What did this... If you want to go that route and you're saying this movie has it, what does it have? What's it saying? What was his point? Would the point be, hey, you may be old, but doesn't mean I'm done yet? I'm only done until I'm dead? No, that's not part of this. Is it... What is it? It doesn't say anything. First 2.5 fucking hours. So, of course, the worst Indiana Jones has to be the longest Indiana Jones film. You know, someone said... This was on another review. It seems like you don't like movies when they kill off characters. I'm like, no, it's because they do it so piss fucking poorly. Star Trek 2, The Wrath of Khan. This is how you do it well. With Spock. But a lot of times you do that. End of Days, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I like the way they did in that movie. Thought that was done well. But when you do it so many times piss poorly, you see the pattern. And, I mean, the guy wasn't being mean, but he was like, it was under my animated Transformers movie review. I'm like, yeah, it was done shitty in that movie, because Optimus Prime, who's the big badass, got fucking killed because some fucking asshole, voiced by Judd Nelson, wanted to be a fucking dipshit dumb fuck. And died in the way, and then became the leader, and was a dumb fuck leader. In a dumb fuck movie that the only good thing was a fucking soundtrack other than Dare to Be Stupid by Weird Al fucking Yankovic. No, I don't like the animated Transformers movie because they kill everybody off in the first half and they leave a lot of dumb fuck characters for the second half. They kill off Optimus Prime for a dumb fuck. Hot Wheels, hot rod, stick a hot rod up his fucking exhaust pipe. Fuck you, Judd Nelson. And fuck that movie. Hey, Optimus Prime, the touch, cool, kick your ass, take your names. Nah, that's too cool. I did him the fuck out of the movie. Yeah, that to me is... They only did that to sell more fucking toys, because these toys, people already bought the toys. We need more different toys. Fuck that shit. So fuck that movie. And fuck this movie. Yeah, and I like Vince DiCola's music. I like the touch. This movie could touch my fucking asshole. Dirty Sanchez all around this fucking movie. So I say he's a fucking loser. He's a fucking old, pathetic, feeble man. Tripping over his own dick. In his fucking underwear. He goes into work. It's his last day of work. Because remember, he's old, guys. In case you didn't forget. He's teaching class and no one fucking listens to him. And no one pays attention. And no one gives a fuck about him. He's alone. He's doing a class. No one gives a shit about him. One pipes up is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who you find out is the goddaughter of Indiana Jones, because she was the daughter of that guy we saw in the prologue of the film. The guy his buddy on the train. It was her daughter, so it was Indiana Jones' goddaughter. And Phoebe Waller-Bridge, she'll never see this. You gotta understand, they wrote your character into such an obnoxious, annoying, know-it-all that keeps saying stuff that pisses fans off because fans see this for Indiana Jones, not for you. The movie's called Indiana Jones, it's not called Helena. Helena and the Dial of Destiny. It's called Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It's called Indiana Jones. So when you keep treating Indiana Jones like shit, when you're doing stuff like, yeah, you're deaf, Jonesy, or you fucking lock him in a cage, or you lock the door behind you so he can almost get killed by the CIA, but not really CIA, but maybe they are CIA, so could be killed. When you keep doing this shit, you become unlikable. When you keep to play, well, what is even a godfather, huh? You know, family was never your strong suit. You're being bitchy. Your character's being bitchy. You're being irritating. What the fuck? Being a bratty know-it-all makes you likable. What's supposed to make you likable? What being a bratty know-it-all does not mean you're likable. It means the fucking opposite. There's literally a point in the film where a buddy of Indiana Jones gets killed, Antonio Banderas, in a pointless fucking role. He's in it for like 5 minutes. She gets dynamite, blows a big old hole in the boat. The both of them escape. They're getting shot at, but Indiana Jones doesn't really go for cover. And she's like whooping and hollering, yeah, woo! And he literally has to remind her, my friend was just murdered. And she turns like, oh, yeah, sorry. I'm like, that right there, that scene perfectly encapsulates why people did not like you. If you need any scene to represent it, that scene. For the makers that you want to think this is going to be the next Indiana Jones, or what, you want it for Tomb Raider or something, that's, Indiana Jones never did that, ever, where he's like, yeah, I did this, my friend was murdered. Oh, okay, you know, like nonchalant, as if don't give a shit. Never. Never. And so many times it just feels like Indiana Jones is just along for the ride. And there are times it feels like he's a sidekick in his own movie. And that's not what people wanted for your final adventure with Indiana Jones. That's what I mean. It was a 2.5-hour movie, and it was hard to sit through. That's really the two major issues I had with the film. 3. Well, okay, 5. 50, fuck it. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is an irritating, annoying character, Helena. She, again, a bratty know-it-all that keeps being unlikable. And what are we supposed to like about this character? You know what? Angelina Jolie, people give the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider shit. No, Angelina Jolie, I think, is very likable in the first Tomb Raider movie. The second one is really boring, but the first one I think is actually a lot of fun. I like the first Lara Croft Tomb Raider movie. And even its, 2000s, early 2000s style, I liked the movie quite a bit, actually. That was a lot fucking better than this. Geena Davis in Long Kiss Goodnight, even when she found out who she was and she was a bit more sassy and antagonistic, still felt more likable than this movie. Demi Moore in G.I. Jane, fucked a little more likable than this. Fucking Karen Allen, Marion from Raiders of the Lost Ark and Kingdom of Crystal Skull. She was feisty, she was able to hold her own, but she was still likable. Even when smacking Indiana Jones in the face, you understood her reason. And she was a better performance, to be honest. So anyway, they get together, she talks about her father's work. The bad guys who, again, they say they're CIA, but they're the murdering teachers to leave no witnesses. They want Indiana Jones and Phoebe Waller to go, what the hell are you doing? We need this information. Phoebe Waller she runs and she locks her own godfather, locks him out. I'm like, these guys look like they're ready to kill. So technically you're leaving your godfather to his death. You left him to him possibly dying and being shot in the head. Because of your selfish, dickish, assholish ways. And all the fucking filmmaker, whatever she's like Indiana Jones. When the fuck has Indiana Jones ever done that, where he literally locked someone out for possibly getting killed? The possibility that they might get killed. Nope, he never did that. So James Mangold, did you actually watch the fucking movies? Because I don't think you did. Or I think you did from... You probably watched him like Ryan Johnson watched the Star Wars movies. Drunk and high. Because Indiana Jones never did that, but you want to make her to be like... She's like Indiana Jones. She's so like him. No, she's not. If you think he is, then you have a fundamental disassociation of who the fuck Indiana Jones was. You're probably like these assholes that say, oh, that is a anti-feminist, sexist. Why? It's probably like that stupid fucking professor that said Predator and Alien was racist. Because the Predator has dreadlocks and the Alien is black. So it means they're afraid of black people. This is a real article by some dumb shit professor at a college. No wonder so many stupid people get brought up today, because they have stupid teachers. If Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character was a teacher, she'd probably teach that fucking class. But so she leaves him to die. He feebly pushes this thing, pushes down some shit. That's where you have the whole scene, the parade. Awful CGI. He's on the horse. The CGI replacement, because Harrison Ford is 80, 81 years old. He can't do all this shit. Just looks awkward. He goes to the subway. The horse outruns the subway. Again, over-the-top, terrible CGI. There's a lot more practical in this one that people forget about for some reason. I blame the internet. I blame, people that, oh, it's cool to hate on this movie. I blame that shit. Well, you caused this movie to get made. Congratulations. How about that? Congratulations. Sallah, John Rhys-Davies pops in for like 5 minutes, if that. He pops in long enough to drive Indy in a car. He punched one guy and says goodbye. And he pops up at the very, very, very end of the movie. Just John Rhys-Davies doesn't have much to do. I mean, it probably is at most 5 minutes in the movie. Give him hell, Indy! And then Indiana Jones almost gets hit by a car. Because he can't watch where he's going. Because remember, he's old. So he's Indiana Jones, but he can't tell that a fucking car is coming towards him. He almost gets hit. Because do you remember? He's old. So just a Tangier. There's Helena trying to sell this item. She's obnoxious. She's unlikable. Yeah, you're deaf, Jonesy. She's trying to sell it. Indy's there. Mads Mikkelsen's there. Again, for a guy that got hit by a metal pipe, metal sign on a speeding train going how many miles per hour, and you're perfectly fine, okay. Didn't fuck up anything. And then she says a stupid line, I stole. Well, then I stole it. That's capitalism. That's not stealing something. It's not capitalism, you stupid fucking bitch. That's not capitalism. It's, hey, I will sell you this. You paid me because of this product. That's called working for a living. You stupid fucking asshole. Don't even know what the fuck capitalism is. So you get that scene where, which is funny, Indiana Jones has the whip, and then everyone pulls their gun. He gets down, but you think 80 guns are on him, why don't they just shoot? If they know he went under the table, why aren't these 80 people just like go to the side, pop, 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 and Indiana Jones Swiss cheese? It's like they try to shoot the shit out of him, and then when Indy ducks and crawls over, then they just forget about it. Never mind. I'm not going to shoot him anymore. It's not even Temple of Doom. Oh shit, they're shooting at me. I gotta get this thing, and it's rolling, and me and Kate Capshaw gotta use it as somewhat cover. No. Just they forget about it. We should try to shoot the shit out of you. Never mind. I'll go off to here. Doesn't make any fucking sense. And then Helena has this shit version of Short Round. This annoying twat waffle kid that you want to tip through a field goal while it's on fire, the character. It's like, hey, you know Short Round? Imagine if he sucked ass. So here you go. No charisma, no entertainment value, no purpose really, other than I guess at the end I'll get to they need someone to fly a plane or whatever the fuck. Plot device. At one point just kidnapped and they had to go after him. And I find it fun also in the scene, one of the people I swear looks like Borat. I shit you not. One of the people in that fucking scene looks like Borat. So, she says lines like, I don't need lessons from an aging grave robber. The whole movie, she's just talking down to the guy. Making fun of the guy. You're just an aging grave robber. Family was never your strong suit. You're deaf, Jonesy. When you say this 80 times throughout the film, why the fuck would people like you? James Mangold, writers, Kathleen Kennedy. You made people want to be in the Woman Haters Club from the fucking Three Stooges back in the day. That's what you're doing. You write these. It's not that it's a female. No, you write females and to be such annoying, obnoxious, idiotic, moronic, know-it-all, browbeating, nasty folks that you make people. I don't like that character. I don't like that character. And then it's like you're programming people to hate women. That's what you fucking seem like you're doing. Back in the day, they used to write well. Ellen Ripley, Sarah Connor. But slasher films that people make fun of. Amy Steele, Helen Langenkamp, Ashley Lawrence. Bet James Mangold never heard of Kathleen Kennedy. For the big feminist, she probably never even heard of those fucking names. I wish Kathleen Kennedy would get fired. Well, there's times where get fired. I don't buy it until it's actually on paper because studios never fucking learn. So you get this one, I forget what vehicle they're driving. Might as well be a fucking golf cart. There's this chase scene. At one point, Helena jumps on that car. To be fair, Indy isn't completely useless. There's a point where they have a gun and he kits the gun and holds it so they don't get shot. There's another point where he saves Helena, gets her back on the fucking... I know it's not a golf cart, I just don't know what the fuck it's called. And she's just riding his ass more. Oh, what is even a godfather? It ain't his fucking job to watch you, bitch. Being a godfather. You know, someone said it best. You know, it's one thing to have daddy issues, but to have godfather issues? That's a new thing on me. You weren't there for me. Family wasn't responsive. Well, if you were like this as a kid, who the fuck would want you anyway? Pick you up and throw you in a dumpster. Where you belong. You fucking dumbass. Bratty know-it-all. And the action scenes just, I don't give a fuck about them. They feel like they go on for too long. The CGI obvious doubles of Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford used doubles a lot, of course. Raiders of the Lost Ark, the great truck sequence. A lot of that was not Harrison Ford. It was, what was his name? Terry Leonard. I think Terry Leonard was a lot of it. But it was better edited. It was better paced. There was a lot to CGI. So it was all done practical for real, so you could feel the danger and get involved in the escapism. So at one point they get out of it. They get to Antonio Banderas, who will help deep dive in this place to try to find the second half of the dial. And Antonio Banderas doesn't even have a character. He pretty much says, "Hi, Indy. Let's go dive." They get back up, and then he gets killed. He doesn't even have a character. Anybody could have played this fucking role. It's such a waste of Antonio Banderas' talent. Anybody could have played this role. Anybody. There's before that, I should say, there's a bit where, do you believe in the Dial of Destiny? Which is time travel, despite what the fuck some people want to say. It was time travel. What would you do if you could go back in time? And he's like, I would stop my son from enlisting. How would you do that? I would tell him if he went there, he would die. I will admit, that was a nice emotional moment for Harrison Ford. He's able to gather some emotion in that bit. Sadly, the movie's lacking in those moments. Just one of the few and only in this 2.5 hour running time. And it's ruined by he's walking away, and then she has to pipe up and say, "Hey, you're still wearing the ring. Shut the fuck up. Put a ring around your neck and throw your ass off the fucking boat, lady. Or say hi to my cock ring. God damn it. Put it in your mouth to shut up." And yes, I'm talking about the character, folks, not the actress. The actress, let's be honest, the actress is doing what she's told by the script. Hey, it's a paycheck. I'm doing what I'm told. So Phoebe Waller-Bridge, hey, this is what they told me to say, this is what they told me to act. So I blame James Mangold, and I blame the writing of this fucking film. And Kathleen Kennedy. That's who I blame, not Phoebe Waller-Bridge. But her character deserves a dick in her mouth to shut up. Because I'm tired of her talking. She's saying lines like, "I don't do noble deaths. Could you make an exception here, please? And leave the movie right now? Please?" They dive. There's eels there. It doesn't make me feel anything. Wasn't that excited? I don't know. Just something about the action scene is just left. Like I said, I'll keep showing this because it deserves it. I'll show this 100 more times just because. I still think this movie deserves an apology. I really do. Those action scenes seemed entertaining. I was invested in them. This, none. I can't think of one action scene I thought was worth a shit. I really can't. Hell, the earlier bit when they're in the thing, they're going downstairs, that was done better just a few years ago in one of the Mission Impossible movies. Done much more for real practical because Tom Cruise is insane. But Antonio Banderas is killed. She's dynamite, blows it up, and that's where she's laughing and whooping and hollering, and he's like, "My friend was just murdered." "Oh, sorry." Fuck you, lady. So they get to this tomb, and I'm sure there's dozens of plot holes, but I mean, if the movie was entertaining, had that fun spirit of an adventure, of an Indiana Jones adventure, then honestly the plot holes wouldn't bother me. Because I guarantee you there's plot holes you do say about the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. But what does bother me is, again, it's boring. Way too much CGI. Way too fucking long of a movie. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is an insufferable, annoying character. Where, again, half of the dialogue is her belittling Indiana Jones. Indy at times feels like a sidekick in his own movie. Especially the third act where he gets wounded, and literally the last 30 minutes of the goddamn film is him being a damsel in distress. That's how Indiana Jones ends. His last great adventure, hurrah. It's him wounded on a fucking plane, doing nothing. But he keeps getting up, and Nazi keeps pushing him down, or people keep pushing him down. He's a feeble old man, while Phoebe Waller and Shit Round, it's not Short Round, Shit Round, goes off to save him. And then Shit Round gets his plane, and Phoebe Waller gets on that plane, and she goes over here, and then they go through a fucking butthole in the sky to go back in time. But the Mads Mikkelsen didn't know the continental drift. He didn't take into equation, so they don't go back to the plan, which was they want to go back to kill Hitler. So I guess so he'll be the new Hitler, or to put a new Hitler in that will win the war. We didn't lose the war. Hitler lost the war. So I guess he thinks if we put another person in there, granted, I don't know if you don't put himself in there. How is that going to work? Like, people just going to be like, yeah, sure. I don't know who the fuck you are, but yeah, sure. I guess we'll trust you. You and your 5 guys. Yeah, sure. We'll take your word for it. I mean, it's a stupid plan now. I think really stupid plan. Not stupid, stupid. Is it? Shh. Don't say anymore. Because you say this plan out loud, it makes people realize how fucking dumb you are. What does killing Hitler do to make you win the war? Who don't put in that spot? Don't you think Hitler would have a lot of fucking people around him? That's like, who the hell are you? You just killed Hitler. It's time to kill you, motherfucker. Who the fuck do you think you are? Oh, you went back in time? I'm supposed to believe this bullshit? Bane, you dead. What are they going to do, show, tell, prove to make them be the new Heil Hitler that supposedly will win the war? I don't think you thought this plan through. Pretty dog shit plan. And you don't even know if it'll work. It's a stupid fucking plan, but whatever. So anyway, he got the things wrong, and they go back in. They in fact go back to the Archimedes time. So you have Nazis shooting at people with bow and arrows. I'm sorry, the time travel down Odysee just wasn't interesting of a MacGuffin for me. The Team of Crystal Skull was interesting. It was fascinating. And again, I don't understand why that is ridiculous, but again, that's too ridiculous. But a fucking arc that you open up and people's faces melt off isn't ridiculous. Or a goddamn knight staying in the goddamn cave for 100 years, that's not ridiculous. But this is ridiculous. When hell, I mean, you can... I'm not going to get into that. I was going to say, you could make the argument you probably believe in aliens. You could probably... Let me ask you something. Which do you think is easier to prove, aliens or God? I'm just asking that question. Which do you think is easier to prove? The existence of aliens or the existence of God? I think one's more tougher than the other. And I'm a guy that's open to believing in both. Do I 100% believe in both? I don't know. I want to believe in both. I'm just saying, which do you think is easier to prove? But yet, you know, this is more ridiculous, but the other stuff isn't ridiculous. I just, you know, ripping hearts out, but they're still alive. Oops-a-day, with Kali. That's not ridiculous. I think it's cool, and it's fun, and it's part of Indiana Jones, the whole shebang. Just like those serials back in the day, which were ridiculous. It's like they're ridiculous, but they're also ridiculously fun and entertaining and escapism. So I just find it weird how, some people view, well, this is ridiculous. I don't know. I don't understand it. So the Phoebe gets rid of a lot of the Nazis, saves Indiana Jones. Then finally Indiana Jones saves her, and they parachute out of the plane before it crashes. Indy's been wounded for like the past hour. So I guess he hasn't bled to death yet. I dare fucking to you the original ending, because he says, leave me here. What? What are you talking about? Pretty much he's got nothing to go back to. I always wanted to see this. Always wanted to be part of history. It's what he's been wanting for the longest time. The history he's been studying, now he could be part of it. He could live it. He could see it firsthand. And then for some reason you were supposed to believe that Phoebe Waller-Bridge likes this guy. You spent the whole fucking movie either locking him out of doors to ready for him to get killed, or calling him an aging grave robber, or you're never good with family, or you're never a strong suit for you, or treat him like dog shit. And now we're supposed to believe that you give a shit about him? Since when? Why? When did that turn happen? Just out of the blue. This is poorly written. And then on top of that, I guarantee the original ending was they did leave him there, and Phoebe and shit round is in another plane, picks her up, they go back, and I guarantee you it'd probably be something like she found some fucking thing, and there's Indiana Jones has become part of history. Like, because there's a bit where they say, maybe she was lying at first, but when they first meet, then she's like, oh, maybe I'll study archaeology. And probably cut to, she's an archaeologist and finds something, and there's a painting or something, or an idol, a painting, the idol of Indiana Jones. So he's been studying history, but now he becomes part of history. I guarantee you something like that was the original ending. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. But because this comes out of nowhere. She instead knocks him out. Then he's back at his apartment from the beginning of the film. But now Sallah's there. His kids are there. Sallah has kids. Or grandkids, whatever. And Phoebe's there. And then Marion. Karen Allen's there. And Phoebe leaves, and then the last scene is with Harrison Ford and Karen Allen. Now, I will admit, I did like this scene. Yes, it's a throwback, but it was a nice, sweet throwback to Raiders of the Lost Ark. With the music, I will admit, that's a nostalgia that hit me. I will admit it. Because, like in the first film, well, where does it hurt? Here, and here, and here. But now she does this. Well, where doesn't it hurt? And she even goes here, here, here. So I thought that was sweet. It was a reverse. They get back together. That's still somewhat of a happy, somewhat ending of Indiana Jones. So as minuscule as it is, as maybe lame as it'll sound to you, the viewer, there are people go, oh my god, he's going to rant. If he ranted on The Flash for an hour, he's going to rant about this movie for 5 hours, blah, blah, blah. If they killed Indiana Jones and all that jazz, it would be. The few tiny bits of that ending. I don't like this film. I think it sucks ass. I do think it's one of the worst films of the year. Is it my top 5 worst? That's tough. I would still say The Flash is the worst film I've seen this year, because as much as I hate this film, nothing comes close to that baby scene where a goddamn superhero puts a baby in a microwave. And then Michael Keaton Batman does die in the movie. That's the last time you did see Michael Keaton Batman is him dying. That's the worst. Skinamarink is very up there. Stream 6, I hated more. It's been a shit year for movies. There's been a couple films I have not minded. Sisu, I liked. Super Mario Bros. Movie, I liked for what it was. Sick, Kevin Williamson wrote it. I didn't mind that film. There's been a couple. Creed 3 I actually liked. People get pissed at me for it, but I like Creed 3. This was just useless. This is just pointless. This was just a useless, pointless movie with an annoying, irritating side character that they're trying to push to be, look how great I am, look how much of a star I am, look how much of an important character I am. I'm like, you're not. You're just an annoyance that I want to avoid, Helena. And Indiana Jones feebling around as the old man he is. And just kind of sad, pathetic. With a boring MacGuffin. I did not give a flying fuck about this MacGuffin or this story. I actually cared about the Crystal Skull. Did not give a shit about this MacGuffin. John Williams' music, honestly, other than the familiar themes of the original films, I don't remember much about the music. And from what I heard, this is the last time John Williams is going to do music. It's pretty disappointing. If that's the case, maybe it's best he retires. James Mangold, what the fuck did he bring to this movie? Jack shit. A lot of CGI. There's 10 times more CGI in this than the fourth film. Tiana Shia LaBeouf's character I thought was a low blow. It's a cheap shot. And I don't like cheap shots. Yeah, this would be in the top 5 worst of the year for me. It would. I don't like Megan, but that's like an hour shorter than this movie. This may be... Actually, you know what? I do think this is worse than Stream 6. This would be my top 3 worst. The Flash, Skinamarink, this movie is in the top 3 worst of the year for me. The more I think about it. And the film bombed. It's not getting the best of ratings. And people get mad at me for being so cynical. Why you hate everything? I just named you a couple movies this year I liked. Sisu, Super Mario Brothers, Creed 3, Sick. I have to look at a list. There might be a little bit more. But we didn't like John Wick 4. Well, there's other people I know that didn't like it. I was disappointed in that film. Even as much as I don't like John Wick 4, yes, I would say it's a better movie than this. I have to be fair. I would say, at the very least, the action sequences are way better produced in John Wick 4 compared to this movie. So, yes. Because I know someone's going to ask, where's the John Wick 4? Yes. Yes, it is. As much as I despise the ending, as much as I despise a lot of the scenes in that movie in terms of the Donkey Kong fucking barrel going down the stairs scene and shit. As much as I think it's the most overrated movie of the year, but this is definitely worse. John Wick 4 was just disappointing. It's what I expected. The only surprise is, wow, they didn't kill Indiana Jones off. So, other than that, exactly what I thought. Strong woman, deconstruction of characters, making them losers, overlong, overabundant CGI, poorly written, poorly paced, terrible supporting characters, throwing some nudges of nostalgia, Karen Allen, Sallah. At least Taron Allen had a little bit more to do in the fourth film. It was actually prominent because it dealt with their son. So you had the mom, dad, and son. Like, there's more prominently put into it and worthwhile. Unlike here, which really did feel like. I guarantee you, Taron Allen was originally not supposed to be in this. Like I said, I guarantee you this ending was reshot. I guarantee it. So, with that said, that's the last time we see Indiana Jones. I'll stick with this movie. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.